My ex-fiancé cheated on me with my stepsister.
Oh.
Now my family wants me to forgive them.
No way. Do not forgive that.
Move on.
Greener pastures.
So when I was 23, now 28, I was engaged to Ryan, 32, now 37, and our engagement ended when my stepsister Kelly was 24, now 29, begged me to leave him because they loved each other, but Ryan was too afraid to break up with me because he didn't want to hurt me and my family. Maybe try not sleeping with a stepsister if you don't want to hurt people.
Whoa, that is a strong first sentence.
By the way, this comes from ThrowRaffNF on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. If you want to send in your own, go to that subreddit, send them in. So when I confronted Ryan about it, he denied it and said that she had been trying to come on to him for some time and he never mentioned it because he didn't want to ruin our relationship. He begged me not to believe her, and so we continued how we were. So OP basically took him at face value.
Okay.
Kelly grew resentful and made nasty comments about how I was forcing a man who didn't even love me to marry me because I had low self-esteem constantly.
Wow. This stepsister sucked. Dude, talk about evil stepsisters. Disney was right.
Yup. Yo, cast her right now. A month later, she sent me a video of them having spicy sleep in my bed.
Oh!
That is what you call unrefutable evidence.
Oh!
Wow.
Oh!
And multiple screenshots of him telling her he loved her.
Oh!
How he wished she was the girl he was marrying and how he hated that I wouldn't let them be together.
What do you mean? Just break up. Just break up. Oh, there are better ways to go about this.
And just to call it out even more, the shifting the blame on other people, like, oh yeah, OP's the one that's keeping you from me. No.
Boy, you have autonomy.
OP's just sitting there living her life. You are the one that's making up this insane mental Olympic set that you're doing these quadruple backflips through. Wow.
Oh man, those first sentences still got me.
Oh, there's way more.
I'm locked in, dude. I am locked in.
So I was devastated and angry, but my best friend convinced me not to go nuclear on them and instead to quietly move out where Ryan was at work the next week.
Smart. Hey. You know what? Self-care over pettiness.
There we go.
Self-care over pettiness. Do not
go.
seek revenge. Seek healing.
Seek healing. Ooh.
Because healing can only happen after you let go of revenge and be like water.
Very true.
Bruce Lee quote. I think.
Samuel Donner. So that's what I did. I contacted my dad and my stepmom and asked them if I could move in temporarily. I removed the money I contributed into our joint account for the wedding expenses and transferred the rest to him before closing out the account. Once I got settled in, I sent all the screenshots she sent to me to all of our relatives and his. And to be clear,
Now let me be clear.
this isn't the I don't think this is the spicy text
video.
This isn't the spicy text, spicy videos. This is just, I think, screenshots of him confessing his love to her over text and saying like, "Oh, he's getting in the way" and all that.
I don't know. That's a little. I think that's a little trashy.
Yeah,
the argument for doing that is like, getting ahead of the story. Like you control the story, and so if they start weaving lies about who you are and what you're doing, you can kind of preempt that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like the same reason we got into the Cold War with Russia, where it's like, oh, like I'm gonna use my nukes on you. You're gonna it's like preemptive war. And usually when you do preemptive war, it's just like a bad move.
Yeah, like you're basically you're like, oh, the other person's gonna make the shot first, when in reality maybe no one
makes a shot. Yeah. I guess the better one is Hiroshima. It was like preemptive war. But like I don't think that was necessarily a good move.
Samuel Donner disagrees
with dropping nuclear bombs on innocent civilians. Yeah, hot take.
Hot take. So Ryan tried to get back together with me multiple times, but I ended up blocking him when I found out he had proposed to her with the same ring he gave me that I left behind.
Recycle, reduce, reuse. I know I used that joke earlier, but I love that joke.
Ooh.
I mean,
wow.
what he's going to buy a new ring?
I mean, no, but golly, dude. What's wrong with you? I'm sorry.
Also, what's wrong with the sister for accepting that too?
Oh, dude. Stepsis and
Talk about
Ryan,
low self-esteem.
You know what? They're made for each other.
They are made
They
for
are made
each
for
other.
each
They're
other.
perfect for each other.
So,
Honestly, you're doing yourself and them a favor. You're doing everyone a favor.
God. So, now Kelly is my stepsister from my mom's side. I have another stepsister, 36, and stepbrother, 38, from my mom's second marriage, as well as a half-sister, 26. They all went to the wedding. Whenever I
To their wedding?
Wait. Yeah,
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, so yes. So he did. I thought OP was saying, oh, she tried to propose, she like dumped him, and now she was trying to get back with me. But I guess it was he tried to get back with her, didn't work. He's like, all right, screw it. I'll just settle for Kelly, or I'll get with her.
Wow.
And everyone went to the wedding.
Wow.
So whenever I tried to express I was hurt by the fact that they were supporting Kelly/Ryan, as though what they did to me meant nothing, they would shrug it off and say that they couldn't cut them out completely because they're family. It's okay. They're family.
I got family.
Yeah, you don't have to cut someone off. To just don't go to the wedding because you're like, yeah, I don't approve.
Who is she mad at for going at the wedding?
She's so basically all of those, all of her mom's side of the family essentially went. The mom,
Yeah.
her stepkids from her mom's second marriage, like all of those people, and it's like, yeah, to OP, which honestly I understand. It's like you are co-signing
Yeah.
the insanity of what they did. And you know what? In another world where Ryan was like, hey, this is the most messed up thing in the world, but low-key fell in love with your stepsister and
maybe ended it like more elegantly as you can.
yeah, there's no like truly elegant way, but there is the most
Better
elegant way
There's
you
a better
can.
way than this.
There is a better way, right? If that was the case, that's, more gray area, but dude.
So you would say that like a question.
Yes.
If you had a sibling that did this, would you not go to their wedding?
So if I had a sibling that stole my partner,
Not your partner, someone else's partner.
but it's their partner. We got to use the scenario at hand, right? So if my sister stole my wife
but I guess I'm trying to think about it through the
family's POV.
family's
I
POV.
understand. Okay, so yeah. So if I'm
If you're like if your sister did this, which she would never do.
Yeah.
But if she did this, would you still go to the wedding?
I think if I understood what that I assume I'm I'm somewhat close to this person and have conversations to understand how they feel. If I understood how they felt, I think I don't know if I would go to the wedding. Just because.
How about a parent? You're a parent.
My parent. Wow. If my parent did that.
Or no, you are the parent.
Oh, I'm the parent.
Yeah.
And, okay. I will say it would be hard being the parent.
And not going.
Yeah. So maybe if anyone's POV, I understand the mom the most because it's just like not going to your child's wedding.
Yeah.
Just feels like that's just like a dream I think probably every parent has. But so like I understand where the mom will be coming from there. But it also sounds like it wasn't addressed to OP.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I know I'm like going to this wedding, but like, hey, I want to see my sister. I want to see my daughter get married. But I also understand. OP basically is like, oh, I'm like unseen. Like my hurt doesn't matter to you all.
Yeah. I guess like if this was my sister, I would be like, hey, I think you started this in like the worst possible way. I don't know if this is a good marriage. I don't want to support it.
Yeah.
But that's also hard to do that's also hard to, man, it's tough. It's a tough situation.
It's a tough situation.
Question: if your family member did this, or if you were the parent of someone who did this, would you still go to the wedding?
Light up that keyboard. Let us know in the comments and let us know too, chat. So I haven't spent a single holiday with my mom's side since Neither has my older biological brother or sister. I only see my mom and half-sister when I invite them over to my place, as Kelly and Ryan moved in with my mom and my stepdad a year after they got married. Our relationship is very rocky, but I've grown closer to my dad and stepmom and their children, an older stepbrother and 2 younger half-siblings, who have all been very supportive since this all happened, so it's not been all bad. On New Year's Day, my boyfriend, now husband, proposed to me. So we had a small engagement party, which I invited my mom and my half sister to. So not Kelly, the worst of it, but yeah. They never turned up because I was excluding half of our family.
Wow, this is the wedding you choose to conscientiously eject from?
I never invited my stepdad or step siblings because they were pretty hurtful when it came out that Ryan and Kelly were sleeping together. They claimed it wasn't their fault and that I was the one who got in the way of their true love. Never let your Never let your stepsister stop you from finding your
wife.
Yeah,
husband. They're rom-comming it, dude.
They made me out to be some sort of vindictive Disney villain for being angry with them. We were planning to have our wedding ceremony this summer, but in late February, my husband suggested we postpone until next year because he was concerned the vid could get worse and we would have to cancel or reschedule it anyways. So I ended up finding out that I was pregnant a month before our original wedding date.
When?
So we had a courthouse wedding on that date with the plan to hold the ceremony next year. Only my dad's side of the family were aware of both the pregnancy and the wedding. So my mom likes to knit, so she's been making stuff for the baby. Recently, she's posted about the things she's made on Facebook with the caption talking about how excited she was to have another grandchild soon.
Uh-oh.
Do we ICU what is about to happen?
I mean, you're going to get cut out. You're getting cut out.
You don't get grandbaby time if you are
Horrible to me.
No.
if you support the person who stole my partner, the person I love.
Yeah, OP's going to put that boundary down so hard.
Ooh.
I'm very excited for it.
And I was tagged in the post.
Oh.
She said, I'm going to tag you like a chew. I have zero issues with the post. I never told my family I wasn't going to inform my mom's side. It wasn't that I intentionally hid it from her. She just never really seemed interested in my life/relationship, so I never brought it up. It seems like they're just like in not as heavy contact because she's been stomping on her boundaries. My mom called me an hour later to demand to know if I was pregnant and how she couldn't believe I hadn't told her she was finally going to be a grandmother. She has since invited me and my husband over to her house multiple times. I've declined every single time for the obvious reason, which is that Kelly and Ryan, the people who screwed her over, live there. My stepdad, who I've barely spoken to in 5 years, has reached out to me to tell me how excited he is to meet the baby and my husband, and same with my bio sibling.
Nope.
Even Kelly reached out to my husband. Congratulations.
No. Not again.
Oh,
Not again.
she's like, I got you a little present.
Yeah, you're going to have to come over and see it.
Oh, God. Emphasis on the over. I was furious. So the next time my mom and stepdad called me, I fully laid into them. I told them I don't want them to keep inviting me over when they knew I would be forced to see Kelly/Ryan if I came over. I told them how hurt and angry I still am over what they did and how my quote-unquote family dismissed my feelings. I told them how they wouldn't throw Kelly and Ryan away, but they were so quick to leave me out to rot whilst I was going through the worst betrayal I'd ever experienced in my life. And I told them I wasn't even sure if I wanted people like them in my child's life. Quick pause there. Chat, Sam, thoughts on all that?
I mean, yeah, not only did they like F you over once by going to this wedding of this person that destroyed your life, which I think may be able to be forgiven, but then they doubled down by not going to your wedding.
Yeah.
Like that doubling down, that's showed you everything that you need to know to put your boundary down and definitely talk to them a whole lot less.
Oh, yes. And OP did say like, oh, I laid into them, but I feel like OP just kind of very explicitly laid out, hey, here is why I am so hurt and feel so betrayed and unsupported.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You gotta, and at that point, they need to know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if they don't know, need to. So, my mom was crying hysterically and kept saying I was being cruel and I couldn't deprive her of her first grandchild. The thing is, my baby isn't her first grandchild. Here we go. My sister has 2 adopted daughters. Yup. Oh, my first real grandbaby. No. No. Those are your real grandbabies.
Oh, God.
But if you had a heart that wasn't shriveled and blackened like the Grinch, then you would know that. Just saying. My sister has 2 adopted kids already who my mom doesn't even try to bond with.
Oh.
She kept wailing about how I might be the only person in our family to even give her grandchildren. My stepsisters are both having a hard time getting/staying pregnant, and my half-sister has proclaimed herself to be child-free.
Oh.
So my stepdad got angry and defensive at me. He claimed I was petty for holding on to something that happened 5 years ago. He pointed out how I had found someone else, so I should understand how love works, and sometimes 2 people just can't help themselves. Not helping, stepdaddy. You love who you love, basically, is what he said. He said Kelly and Ryan were happy together, so I should be happy for them the way they're happy for me and my husband. The ironic thing is my sister told me Kelly and Ryan looked like they were on the verge of divorce.
Oh.
They argue constantly. My mom complains to her about them and how my siblings all hate him and pretend like they like him just for Kelly's sake. By the way, if you hate to run out of delicious content like what you're listening to right now, go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where you made us top 100 comedy podcast, by the way. Search OK Storytime for 2,000 episodes, ladies and gentlemen. But we have a little bit more to the story, and I'm going to dive right in.
Let's do it.
I ended up hanging up because I was so angry. And when I got angry, I started crying. I didn't want them to think they got to me. Since I've been receiving texts and calls nonstop from my mom's side of the family, they're all essentially telling me that I should be over all of these things already. It's gotten to the point where me and my husband have switched phones so he can screen my messages for me and I don't have to read them. Wow, that is insane.
I've never heard of that before.
Sucks.
That's insane. How do I make my family understand just how unforgivable what Kelly and Ryan has done to me? I would prefer not to go completely no contact, but is that my only option here? So let's answer to close this out.
Send a memo.
Say again?
I think you just send a memo and I think we do their classic iPhone lock screen method. Where it's like, hey, here's a memo. This is why I'm so hurt. This is how I want to be treated. If you're willing to treat me like that, I would love to have you in my life. If you don't treat me like that, I'm going to have to put more distance and kind of see what happens.
I am going to say this might be entering the gray zone where it's they've already, I feel like that's when it's like the first or second or third response. It sounds like they've already committed their rap sheet. They've committed felonies already, right? So it's if you've committed 13 felonies already, am I going to give you community service, or am I just going to be yo, you've had your chance. You did the crime. You got to do the time.
The only
until
reason
proven innocent.
The only
afterwards.
reason I'm thinking about doing this is it sounds like OP doesn't want to cut their family out.
That is true.
Is that my only option? I'm let's give OP one more option.
Right. Yes.
Before they have to do what they really don't want to do.
Which is totally fair. Shout out to OP after all of this, trying to be empathetic and think about her family. But yeah, man, I think I wonder if OP's doing that out of want or
obligation. That's a good point. That's a good point. If OP could be no, I'm supposed to be close to my family.
Yeah.
Should I do this? And I think the answer to that is, I mean, just like everyone else in your life, your family has to earn their place.
Yeah.
And if they are constantly wearing you down or hurting you, then you have just as much a right to put a boundary up as you would anyone else in your life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
But I'd love to know what you guys think.
Yes.
Put your answers in the comments below, and we'll get into this next story.
I started dating my mother's friend, but my friends think it's weird.
Mommy?
Damn, mommy.
Mommy's friends with benefits. Well, March 9th, 2025. Am I wrong to go on a date with my mother's friend? My mom is in her 50s. I'm 35, and Clara is 43 years old for context.
Okay, so it's kind of in between.
My mom helps run a few clubs for her church at the community center. One of those is a hobby club where they try all sorts of arts and crafts and activities. Clara joined the club around a year ago, and a few months back, my mom and Clara got close, so she started inviting Clara over to hang out at her house a lot. I met Clara when my mom invited her to dinner, and I was over that night too.
Whew.
By the way, this comes from Chaff Champion, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime. So after a while, whenever mom and I would plan to hang out, Clara was always included, and I suspect this was intentional by my mom trying to play matchmaker.
Wait. So mom is setting them up.
Well, mom playing matchmaker worked, and a week ago, Clara asked me out.
Oh.
I asked my mom if that would be awkward for her, and she laughed and told me that she thought I should do it.
Okay, so we got like a consent on all sides.
We've got the cosign.
That's great.
So Clara and I made plans for a date, and the plan is to go out in a couple of days. Thing is, I mentioned this to some of my friends and their partners, and they all seem to think it's weird of me to date someone who is a friend of my mom.
Get over it. I think it's fine.
Screw them.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Everyone I've spoken to about this, other than my sister and mom, are creeped out by me dating Clara, and I can't understand why. I just get vague, oh, you're being weird, creepy, or it's just ick when asked why this is wrong when even my mother approves of it. Am I missing something here? And we've got some comments, but just super quick. Nothing wrong here?
I think it's fine. I think all right, your mom is all right. First of all, it seems like your mom became friends with this person almost to set you up with her.
Possibly.
It's like, oh, I met this girl at my hobby class. Let me invite my son over and then they can link up. I feel like it was her playing matchmaker from the beginning, and this friendship was part of the matchmaking process.
Yeah, and it's what, 8 years? Bad math? You know, it's not
crazy.
It's not a crazy,
It's not that crazy.
Especially when you're like in your, mid to late 30s. I feel like that like kind of also changes the dynamic drastically for like big age gaps.
Fine.
So
it's fine.
It's like 8 years from him and then about 10 years from the mom, if that makes sense. So it's like, it's right in the middle.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But we have some comments. Maybe they think differently. A commenter says, you're missing that. No matter what you do, judgmental people will judge you for it. Go have fun on your date.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
OP says, you're right. People will judge over anything. I'm surprised my friends are all against this, and I can't get a clear answer as to why out of them. A commenter says, absolutely not wrong. You're two adults. What's weird or wrong about it?
Yeah.
Parents have been playing matchmaker since time began. It's lovely that your mom introduced you. And Opie says, yeah, my mom loves being a matchmaker. She introduced my sister to my brother-in-law, and they are perfect for each other.
Dude, mama's got a track record.
Dude, Russian. Commenter says, I don't necessarily think it's wrong, but think about this. If things don't work out between you and Clara, be it after a date or two, or even a messy breakup after a long-term relationship, how will this affect your relationship with your mom? Is she the type of person to hold a grudge, choose her friends over you, try and convince you to stay together? Also, if Clara and your mom are good friends, how would you feel about Clara sharing details about you in intimacy with your mom? I mean, one would pray that Clara would have the wherewithal to not.
Yeah, a little separation there, I think. I think they became friends because of the matchmaking, not because of like that this is some deep friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like, even if they didn't, I feel like she probably like seized the opportunity and was like, oh, here's a nice, attractive young lady for my son.
I don't think it's an issue.
Now, I'm not saying all this would happen, but it is a possibility. Opie says the potential issues with a breakup and her being mom's friend are why I was hesitant, but my mom and I spoke about it. She assured me she wasn't worried and thinks that even if things don't work out between Clara and I, everything will be fine. And my mom would shut down any attempt at mentioning intimacy with me. Thank God. She walked in on me and a girlfriend in high school, and that memory haunts both of us this day. And the top comment on the post from Bookworm1324 says, this isn't abnormal at all. Before online dating, it wasn't uncommon for people to meet through family friends or through people's parents. that they knew socially that were younger or who had similar age kids they wanted to introduce their child to, etc., etc. This is just a long form version of that, basically. Plus, you don't have to stress about her liking your mom if it gets serious. True, she already does. Sounds like a win-win, and we have an update. I think something might go horribly wrong.
I think they're gonna go get a happily ever after. I think we got little cougar and a little steed riding into the sunset.
See, because usually, because hear me out here, right? So like the stories with like the most insane, roller coaster nosedive openers, those are the ones that can like end up the best at the end, right? We've been smooth sailing so far. Like it's just like friends making some comments off the side, like.
Yeah, you're like we're about to take the nosedive. If you haven't had a nosedive in the beginning, you're gonna have it in the second half.
We've been doing this, just climbing up the little wooden roller coaster.
All right, let's see.
Update 3 days later. For context, I am 35 male. My date is 43 female. We actually met because she's in a hobby group with my mom and encouraged us to go out together. Two of my friends and their girlfriends did not approve when they found out. At first, it was because she was a few years older than me and because she's a friend of my mom's. But after pointing out that our age of 8 years is not a big gap and my mom was supportive, they just started calling it weird and creepy for me to date her. Eventually, after everyone else I asked seemed confused about the problem, like I was, they came clean and admitted that they had been talking to my ex that left me a year ago and she had been missing me. I knew there was something.
There was something. Also, why doesn't the ex just say something directly?
Yeah.
Why are we passing notes like we're in fourth grade? Honestly, I feel like OP needs someone more mature, maybe 8 years older.
Yeah. Or maybe, what's 47 minus 27? 20 years older.
Wait, did you guys ever do that? You
What?
ask your friend to ask out a girl for you?
Like when I was in 8th grade, maybe.
Yeah.
Or like,
Not ask out, but like.
okay, you know what? That's not true.
Again, in a hypothetical world, like you can have a homie like wingman.
Yeah, wingman. Well, I've definitely asked like my sister, like, hey, like, is this person that you know, like
suss out the vibe.
Yeah, is that could there be a potential vibe?
Yeah.
And Sophia's usually like, I don't know, ask them.
Sophia, gonna get you. Come on, help a brother out.
No,
literally.
to be clear, she's been very helpful. She usually just says, nah.
She ain't it.
No, I'm kidding. It was great.
But so my ex is friends with the two disapproving girlfriends, and they had all been planning to try and get us back together like some kind of trashy romance plot. My ex left me after we were together for a year because she just didn't feel right.
Aw.
It didn't feel right. It hurt like heck at the time, but I've moved on. I've run into her a few times and been polite, but I have no interest in a relationship or even a friendship with her. She's not part of my life anymore, and I'm keeping it that way. My friends made me feel like I was crazy and weird for wanting to go on a date with a woman I get along with. We've hung out a lot in other settings, just not a date yet. All so they could try and force my ex back into my life. Ex texted me this morning.
Whoa.
Asking if we could meet up and talk. And I told her that I wasn't interested in anything she'd have to say and that I would like to keep my distance from her. Is that a fair response?
I think you could. I think there's like maybe a nicer way of saying that. But I think it's somewhat fair.
Yeah, I think like could have had I think nicer
it's
phrasing, but I feel like the general gist of it is like, hey, you hurt me, and like,
basically, I think like if I was to think of the most empathetic thing to say, it would be like, hey, appreciate you reaching out, but I just don't feel ready for you to be back in my life right now. I'll reach out if that ever changes.
Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
But you kind of know what her game is, because she may have like got her little goons together and said, hey, so here's the game plan to get him back in my life.
Yeah, which is weird. It's
So-
also, are your goons? I think like I feel like those friends are those friends your friends?
That's
You
the
know?
question. Are we gonna end up completely imploding OP's
The whole
entire
friend group.
circle?
Oh,
Because
Ooh.
like it came from these two girlfriends. What it was sounding like was it kind of was like coalescing into a pressure from like all of the friend group, even if it wasn't like explicit. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it did.
They're
It did.
poisoning the well.
Yeah, the friend group is like acting on behalf of the ex to maybe do things that are not in the best interest of OP.
Yeah.
So yeah, who are you really friends with?
Very weird. Very weird. Maybe get some new friends.
Oh, weird.
At your mom's hobby club.
Ooh, ooh.
Oh, God. I'm also putting some distance between my two friends who are playing along with the girlfriend's stupid game. On the plus side, I'm really looking forward to our date tonight. Dinner, drinks, and a walk through town to enjoy the nice weather that we're getting. And some of OP's other comments, the top commenter says, trying to manipulate you into canceling a date because they care more about the feelings of the girl that dumped you doesn't really sound like something real friends would do. They aren't my closest friends, so I'm strongly considering just moving on from them completely. Commenter says, nothing says cheat on me more than taking back an ex. Oh, God. OP says she wasn't a cheater. It just wasn't working out. And we have another update that night. So this is literally, first one was 3 days later. Now it's literally the night of the same day.
Okay.
I want to throw out the conspiracy theory. X is not taking no for an answer.
And it's gonna go crash the date.
Pulls up, crashes the date.
Yo.
Crashes the date. Gets the intel from her goons, from her two little girlfriends. Pulls up on the date and is like, why are you with my man? And then she's like, wait, what's going on? And then she just like confuses her. She's like, yeah, we've been dating. Like, look at all these pictures. Look,
I mean,
look.
I feel like that is a worthy conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
My conspiracy theory on the other side is the date's gonna go super well.
Ooh.
And he's gonna fall in love. And then the cougar and the young buck are gonna ride into the sunset.
Or burn in a fire.
One of those is gonna happen. But
You choose.
I do,
Devil or angel.
I do think set boundary with X, and I think OP kind of already did that, but maybe not in like the most empathetic way. And then I think also set boundaries with friends.
Yes.
I don't know if I would completely cut off, but it would make me want to hang out with them less. So I think again, like a tiered boundary is like, hey, like I don't like that you were doing this. If we're gonna be friends, you can't try to manipulate me. But also in saying that, I would probably just distance myself more, especially if they're not like super close friends.
I'm gonna pull a you on me. You have two women who are you're kind of friends with, but are not in the inner circle, right? So you see them at the parties and the get-togethers and everything.
And they were trying to get me back with my ex.
And they were trying to manipulate you into getting back together with your ex. Would you,
Gracefully.
essentially
if
back
they were
out of that?
So I think what I would do is like, hey, like I don't want you I'm not trying to get back together with my ex. I don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it feels like you value our friendship less by trying to do that. You're totally invited to our potlucks or whatever, but I think I'm going to need a little space.
And that's communication, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's what I would do.
Well, we have the fated night, the date night, update number 2. So I just got home. I did not expect this much support. Figured I'd let anyone finding this late checking back in now. The date went very well. Haven't had a first date go that well, I think, ever, to be honest. Second date has already been planned. I'll be cooking dinner and we'll be watching a few terrible movies that we both share a love for. As for my crappy ex-friends, I've already told them we're done being friends.
Yeah, I understand that.
Luckily, they are part of a separate social circle from my main group of friends, so it's a very easy breakup process from there. Ex did try calling me. I went ahead and blocked her everywhere I could think of, not letting those idiots ruin an otherwise amazing night. Thanks again for everyone's supportive words. I know I made the right call, but it's nice to be validated, We have another update. 4 days later. Wow, this got a lot more tension than it deserved. Came back to hundreds of messages and people wanting to know about date number 2. It went just as well as the first, I'd say. I made chicken parm and she got my favorite cider to drink. We watched Velociraptor because that movie is truly art at its finest. She's an incredible woman, and now we're official, so I get to brag about my awesome girlfriend to anyone who will listen to me. She's confident, smart, funny, gorgeous, and she knows what she wants. She's very straightforward, which I appreciate. Obviously, it's way too early to tell what the future of this relationship looks like, but for now, I'm happier than I've been in a very long time. Also, my mom is smug as heck and teasing me relentlessly, but my girlfriend is getting it even worse because mom and the girls from the hobby club are ganging up on her. It's all in good fun. I just think they haven't had much new relationship gossip in a while. By the way, if you want some other fun, wholesome new relationship gossip, then go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and search OK Storytime, which is a top 100 comedy podcast.
Top 100.
Top 100.
Thanks to you. Thanks
That's
to
right.
you. We were 99th yesterday.
We hit 94 on Monday.
We hit 94.
That's crazy.
On Monday. Shout out to the OK Storytime fam.
Global podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
Global podcast on Apple. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's bananas. So shout out to you guys, and go check out the pod. There's some, little raw and uncut a little bit. So why don't you check that out? Anyways, getting into the end of this, X and her friends and my 2 ex-friends seem to have accepted the breakup, quote unquote, and I don't expect them to show up knocking on my door, demanding we hang out or anything like that, like a few people suspected.
Open the door.
With those friends out of my life, I'm no longer likely to even run into my ex, as I only ever saw her hanging out with those particular friends. Might see her at the store, but even that's unlikely because I go at odd hours to do my shopping. That's it. No big friend drama. I'm happy. My girlfriend is happy. Family and friends are happy. Life is good. Thank you for listening to me yap about my love life on the tail end of the post that I wrote just to work off steam. And we're all happy.
We're all happy. I hope you have a long and prosperous relationship. Does our boy on Reddit, is there any updates to this? Is he
No,
still in a relationship?
That was everything.
My friend tried to control my wedding, but I'm not backing down.
Stand up. Don't say I do.
So I have a small group of friends that have been my best friends for over a decade.
Huh?
But one member, let's call her Chelsea, and I have always had some tension. But we were there for each other when it counted, so I could always look past the stupid crap like her immaturity or her odd paranoia when it came to any of us hanging out without her. By the way, this comes from Siren Rose 1991 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So she was convinced that if we spent time without her there, we spent the entire gathering talking bad about her. It sounds like she might be a little insecure. Chelsea, get some self-confidence. They're
Get
not
healthy.
talking about you. And maybe also you're not that important that everyone's going to be talking about you all the time.
Dang.
Which made little to no sense because when we had something to say to her or about her, we just told her, like, Chelsea, get a grip.
You got it.
Girl, we're not talking about you.
Don't be shy.
You're not that important. Get some self-esteem.
Be glad.
But I digress. In March of 2021, I got engaged to my partner of 6 years. Woo. And of course, I asked my 3 best friends to be at my bridal party, including Chelsea.
Uh-huh.
And we began the excited discussion of what I want my wedding to look like and what bridal party attire will be. And I look at Chelsea and I say, I plan to have my bridesmaids in floor length, dark red gowns, but you guys can pick whatever neckline you're comfortable with and what type of sleeves you want if you want them. Is that okay? I know you don't really do dresses. But now we're going to get Chelsea's response. Chelsea says, no, that's fine. I actually love dresses, but I don't own any currently, so I can't wear them.
I don't own dresses, so I can't wear them. It doesn't work.
Me, oh, okay, cool. And we move along. So it just sounds like I don't wear it, but I will.
I will for you.
I will for you. Right?
Or I don't have any dresses in my closet, therefore it is illegal for me to purchase a dress to wear. I think it's the former.
We'll see. So fast forward to February 2022. Well, one day she and I were hanging out at my house with my best friend, who happened to be Chelsea's significant other.
Okay.
Wait. Your best friend is Chelsea's significant other?
Ooh. How close of friends are we talking?
Ooh.
Miss fiance.
That was how Chelsea and I had become friends in the first place. Okay.
The connector.
Noted. And now years later, Chelsea's significant other was my matron of honor, and Chelsea was a bridesmaid. And we started talking about the wedding, and my best friend asked what they'd be wearing. Me, well, you'll be in a suit, but it'll be black with red and silver accents like we talked about a year ago. Not sure about the tiny details, but you'll be in black because I want you to stand out as my matron of honor And Mike, my other best friend, is going to be in a red suit, the same color as the bridesmaids' dresses. A red suit kind of goes hard.
That's a cool. I'm actually loving the also dark red gowns. Super classy.
Yeah,
I like
super
OP's
classy.
vision.
Yeah. Chelsea and me too. Best friend, you two what? Chelsea, I'm going to be in a red suit. Me, no, remember all the bridesmaids are going to be in long red gowns. We talked about this when I first asked you. Chelsea, no, I'm going to be in a suit. Best friend, Chelsea, best friend, you're wearing a dress, remember? Chelsea, maybe I'm not comfortable wearing a dress anymore. Me and best friend, when did things change? Chelsea, you know what? I'm not arguing with you about this. You don't even have a date yet. Ooh. Not a date for the wedding, a date for the, well, I guess a date.
Yeah.
The day of the wedding. Me, that has nothing to do with this. I've said over and over, I want my bridesmaids in long red gowns for over a year now. What the hell? Chelsea gets up and goes into my bathroom and stays there for 45 minutes, then comes out when it's time to leave. So later that night, I messaged Chelsea privately to talk this out with her. I told her that we had agreed on these gowns, and it's what I wanted on my wedding day. This started a huge argument where Chelsea told me that it was a double standard to let my best friend wear suits and not Chelsea. How it was hurtful that I'd force her to wear a dress when she hates them. And then she hit me with, so let me ask you this. If I was trans or mask presenting, would you force me to wear a dress then?
Big question.
What do you think? Is OP being unreasonable by asking Chelsea to wear a dress or not?
Let us know. Type in the comments below.
I think if Chelsea had said something earlier, like a year ago, maybe it would have been fine.
I think because
I think it's the expectation was set.
The expectation was set, and then now OP's like, well, now I'm like completely confused, and I've been like relying on this plan for a year.
Yeah.
So
do you think OP's the a-hole or Chelsea's the a-hole right now?
I would say Chelsea is the a-hole, although ultimately I don't know if like OP can like force her to wear a dress, but I would say that Chelsea is the a-hole for, not kind of like, it's okay if she changes her mind, but the way she's going about it, I feel like it's a completely wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if I was the bride, I don't know if I would, and I had a mixed set of people being like bridesmaids and groomsmen kind of like on my side. I would allow some to wear red suits and then the others to wear red dresses. I think I would just want everyone looking good together.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would care if like one of the women was wearing a suit or a dress as long as it like fit the color scheme.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would try to force someone into it, but also on the flip side, if I was told to wear a suit and I only have to wear a suit, then I think that I would be okay with that.
And I think OP can maybe, I'm curious, this is the heat of the moment. What happens like after, the dust settles?
Yeah. I'm right. As of right now, I'm feeling like everyone's an a-hole right here. But OP is less than an a-hole for forcing.
Yeah.
And I think Chelsea's more of an a-hole for like making this the whole thing.
I'm curious. Maybe I'm assuming that she won't ultimately like try to force her to do it. If she did, that would be
me. Well, if you were trans or a mask presenting, I wouldn't have asked you to be a bridesmaid at all.
Oof.
If anything, I'd ask fiance if you could be a groomsman. And my logic for that was calling a trans man a bridesmaid would be disrespectful. At least that's how I feel personally. And for the record, we asked Chelsea if she was questioning her gender identity or if she was actually trans, and she told us a resounding no. She was solidly a cisgendered woman. Therefore, she was trying to use the struggles of trans people to make me think I was being horrible and guilt me into giving her own way. She even got more angry that I would make an exception for that, but not for her, and that my asking her to wear a dress was the same thing as saying I hate Chick-fil-A's homophobic practices, but give them my money anyway because the chicken tastes good. To which I responded, I'm going to make the argument that they are nothing alike, and one is objectively worse because one is funding a company who wants to eradicate an entire community of people because of who they love, and the other is me saying, I would like you to wear a dress if you want to be in my bridal party, and if you refuse, that's okay, but you'll be a guest instead. I still want you there and in my photos and stuff. So, yeah.
I will say I am now that I see OP like continuing to stick to the guns. I'm like, and again, people's weddings, should basically be able to do what they want and everything. But I am also like, what's wrong with the suit? Like, it sounds like it's like you got a whole great vision for people who are in suits and dresses. So like, why not? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused. Chelsea needs therapy. Yeah. I think also OP is pushing it a little bit hard.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. We went back and forth, and I continued to tell her that I am allowed to want what I want for my wedding, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then if she didn't want to abide by the dress code, then I understand, and that's okay. But that will mean she'll be a guest at my wedding. She is still wanted and welcome, and she will be front row in my photos. And then she told me, well, I thought you understanding that would mean that what I want and my comfort level would mean more to you than what you deem acceptable attire at your wedding. At that point, I told her that she could let me know what she decided. Either she was a bridesmaid or she wasn't. But regardless, I love her, and I just wanted to squash this so we could move on. And her response was, you really don't want me to make a decision with the current headspace I'm in. So I told her, I don't see why not. The options are wear a dress and stand up at wedding, or wear whatever you want and be an honored guest. The choice isn't wear the dress or we aren't friends anymore. Yes, but it's like it is going to hurt your friendship.
Yeah, I feel like OP is like really missing the point and just like painting something in this like very black and white thing where it's like, yeah, we'll make like, you know what I think is totally reasonable, that Claire, right, is the friend?
Chelsea.
That Chelsea is like, hey, you know what? I honestly changed my mind. I don't know if I feel comfortable in that anymore. And being like, yeah, like at least even if you don't acquiesce to that, being like, you know what? I understand, but this is my wedding and I do just kind of want the vibe of like the all dresses like thing is what I'm looking for. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I feel like both of them are sticking to things that don't matter. Yes, they're, and that's why we're getting into this place, because they're both like being like a-holes about it. They're just trying to twist the knife on each other. It doesn't feel like it's actually about the things they're talking about. They're just trying to kind of like pettily twist the knife on each other. So I almost typed, and I don't appreciate the thinly veiled threat that is, but I know that would just drag this out, and I wanted it over. And she said, if you change your mind, you know where I am, or something equally non-committal to making a decision. So I told her that I will accept this as I appreciate the offer, but I won't be a bridesmaid and will instead be a guest. And now we could move on. I left it at that, and we seemingly moved on. And honestly, in full disclosure, had Chelsea come to me and said, hey, about the dress thing, I'm not going to be comfortable in a dress anymore. Could we explore other options for my bridal party attire, like a suit? I would have said yes, because it was approached respectfully. But she decided to try to convince me I was actually transphobic and as bad as people who wanted LGBTQ hurt to occur because she wasn't getting her way, and she wanted to guilt me into giving her way. So no, and we do have an update. But really quick, I know we're getting absolutely shat on, lambasted
by chat right now.
Yes.
But does that not show you she's being a little bit of the a-hole?
Oh, like the fact that she's like, I'm actually open to it, but I'm open to it,
but I don't like how I don't like how she asked me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going. She didn't ask me respectfully, so I'm not going to do it.
I mean, I wonder, which
I guess is, I don't know. I feel like that is like a little a-hole-y,
yeah, Let me ask this. If she's like, essentially like, hey, she's being difficult in a way that's just kind of like ruining the dress and suit situation aside. She's like kind of bringing this negative energy and stress to my bridal party. If that's a reason to like,
that's a great reason.
Yeah, that's
a great reason.
And I'm honestly like going to you like, hey, like I'm just like trying to. It's already stressful, and I kind of just want to feel at peace, and you're kind of just stressing me out. I'm gonna have to respectfully say,
and I
step back from the bridal party.
I think if that was the answer that we were just given, I would be like, okay, like that's totally understandable. Yeah. But what it feels like is it's like you didn't ask me in a nice way. There feels like a little bit of pettiness.
Yeah.
It feels like OP actually doesn't care about the dress. What she's saying is like, I would be okay with the suit, but she didn't ask me in a nice enough way.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I think that is, we want everyone to be respectful to us, obviously, but when people are respectful to us, we generally are more we're more willing to do the things that they ask. But if we're just being like using our power to kind of put someone in their place when they're not respectful to us, I feel, and that's the only reason, rather than what John said about like the vibe, the wedding being off. Like, I feel like that. I think that reasoning is a little whack.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's very empathetic, and I don't think it's very kind.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think OP is entitled to do whatever she wants with her wedding. And for her, like, is it not better to, like, honestly, at this point, do we think Chelsea's going to make the wedding a better experience for OP and the other people there?
No.
I would say no. So I would be like, let's just get Chelsea out of the wedding.
Yeah.
Period. Because you're ruining the vibe.
I think, again, Chelsea, I think, is an a-hole.
Yeah.
I think OP's behavior may have turned up the a-holeness of Chelsea because she was kind of given some of that same energy back. And I think from a self-preservation standpoint, if she was maybe a little bit more nuanced in her approach, it might have been easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, yeah. Do you agree with that? Or where do you disagree?
I think I don't know if I think there was basically some pettiness there.
Yeah.
And it's like there's some times where it's like you could have like the more petty interaction, or on the flip side, it's like, okay, let me just directly communicate with you. And again, it's like, hey, not only are we not gonna give Chelsea, and not that that's the phrasing, but just to say it, not only we're not going to give Chelsea the option to not wear the dress, but also just have her not attend the wedding, not because we want to like be petty, but to protect your peace if Chelsea is really like doing this as a power play or to frustrate you and like all of that kind of stuff.
And again, in this sentence here, had Chelsea come to me and said, hey, about the dress thing, I'm not going to be comfortable in a dress anymore, I believe Chelsea did say like I wasn't comfortable in a dress.
Yes.
So like you could preempt this whole thing and be like, hey, are you not comfortable? Like I can help you out.
Yeah.
Instead of giving her the same energy back. But we're going to go into the rest of the story. So update. So we decided to wait until we got out of debt and got more financially stable. So it's still November 1st, the wedding, but the year is not set in stone yet. We are currently still not married because we decided buying a house was more important than a wedding, but we still fully plan to have one. And my fiance actually wants the fancy wedding just as much as I do. So we're both willing to wait. Chelsea knew we had a date, and she knew we had decided to wait for the above reasons after a while. Anyway, in 2021, I lost my grandmother, who was one of the most important people in my life. Then less than a year, I lost my grandfather, lost a couple of cousins and an uncle, and my niece, who I helped raise and love as my own child, ended up in mental faculties for self-harm and unaliving behavior. So I was perpetually mourning, depressed for like 2 years straight. And this cycle hasn't ended to this day. A couple months ago, I lost a good friend to a heart condition. Oh, it's been a lot. Chelsea decided to ask my best friend for a divorce and resulted in a novella of lying, gaslighting, and manipulation that ended up affecting all of us because Chelsea left my best friend, then got back with her started arguments with my best friend over me, accused my best friend and I of having an affair, and recorded a private conversation we had so she could play it for a friend of hers who did not like me and who I also don't like because said friendship was kind of to my face, then mocked my relationship, my partner, a medical condition I have, and most recently, my job behind my back. That friend is also narcissistic. Again, I'm getting like, I don't know. Like, is this your, like, you say this person's your friend, but you're talking terribly about them?
Well, so here's my question now. So this is like, I feel like we got the tip of the iceberg with Chelsea. Now it's like Chelsea was going crazy and trying to like accuse OP of like cheating with their partner and all this. I'm like, why not only why did Chelsea get a wedding invite, why did Chelsea get invited to,
and why are you still hanging out with her?
Yeah,
it sounds like you're just hanging out with toxic people.
Like I would say to OP, it's like you're wholly entitled to not have to like invite them to the wedding or to the bridal party. So why not protect your peace and
Oh, and she flew to another state to spend days with another woman and lied to all of us about it, to which she says that she and the other woman are just friends and it wasn't an affair. Those were the final straws for me. I was also already spiraling downward mentally. My fiance even told me he was worried I was going to hurt myself because I was getting so bad, and I ended our friendship, probably for the best. After I did, she admitted to my other best friend that she knew I'd never had an affair with her wife. She just said it to hurt us, essentially because we'd accused her of having one with a woman she had lied about flying to another state to spend time with in secret. My best friend and Chelsea are no longer together. And in all honesty, I had started seeing a change in her around 2019, 2020, a change I didn't like. But when my grandma passed away in June of 2021, I stopped caring because I needed my friend's support just to keep living. 2023, and I still have crying fits over my grandmother because we were so close. So this loss was profound, and dealing with Chelsea's drama on top of everything was not something I could do. I would like to add that Chelsea has good qualities like any person. She could be kind and caring. At one point, she was absolutely a wonderful friend. I can't say why she changed for certain, as she refused to speak to me after she left my best friend. There are, of course, details about her and best friend I've glossed over or left out because those are just their stories. But this is pretty strictly just experiences pertaining to me and what I experienced specifically. Best friend is doing better, and while I'm still dealing with things, my fiance and I couldn't love each other more if we tried, and my best friend and I are closer than ever. We're very supportive of each other during the current mental and physical health journeys. My best friend is looking forward to my wedding whenever it takes place. Edit, I got my revenge by getting married without her in my life. My husband and I found out his mom had stage 4 lung cancer, so we decided to do a small intimate wedding with just family and bridal party instead of saving for a big expensive goth fantasy that we wanted. I went from gothic beauty to dark romance and rustic. She and one of her friends stalk her socials, so I posted photos on my beautiful day with my beautiful bridesmaids in their gorgeous red dresses, my bride's man in his red suit, and my maid of honor in all black with a dark red blouse. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, and I'm going to go straight into it. Unless, John, you have anything you'd like to add? What do you have?
Talk to me.
So OP was friends with this girl after her grandma died because she needed, friend support.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where it's like OP was going through like a lot in her life, and she's just like, I will take whoever's around to try to help fill that like emotional hole in her heart. Therefore, Chelsea was just kind of like around, even though Chelsea, it seemed, was just like a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and not at all the best friend. And that carried all the way into the invites and the bridal party, which again, I would say that OP was entitled to not have to invite her to the wedding in the first place.
Yeah.
If
So again,
thought the vibe was off.
Chelsea a-hole for sure.
Yeah.
Chelsea a-hole for sure. I think maybe my my designation for OP is could have handled it better.
Yeah.
But overall, not totally an a-hole, but could have handled it better.
I would agree.
But let me know if you think I'm wrong. I know you will.
Yes.
My husband and I had an amazing day, and Chelsea never crossed my mind once. I got the wedding she wishes she could have had, and I have the healthy relationship she wishes she could have had, and I got to share it with my closest friends and family members. My husband is an amazing person, and he felt just as amazing as I did that day. I love him so much, and we got an amazing photographer so he would have excellent photos of our day and his mom in particular. It was a big deal to me that the photographer took extra care to photograph my husband and his mom and siblings together. And no matter what, Chelsea can't take this from us. She never could have, because I have my loved ones there, and that's what matters. My best revenge will always be being happy and loved and loving my husband and family in return. And that's where it ends.
There it is. I like that last line.
But with that, I think that is a wrap.
Yes, sir.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.